Hey, by any chance, did you hit Waz?
I can.
Yeah, please, please do. This is actually a really good one over there too. That was pretty good. What's going
Yeah.
on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of America's Conspiracy Compass, where we dive into rabbit holes and try to make it back out with our life. Yeah, does that sound about right? Okay.
Something like that. Something like that.
Casey's been on a little of a hiatus, man. Casey was gone. He left me to fend for myself. But in doing that, I found some really cool people to jump on the podcast. So we had Amber's Truth. Amber, if you want to come on, I put the link inside of pill.net's chat. So all you gotta do is click it. So yeah, because you were great. Great testimony too. But yeah, you guys, on this show, this is what we do. We talk conspiracies, right? And it gets a little dicey because we talk conspiracy, but then it can lead into like theology. And because that got to do with paranormal when you talk about like angels and demons. And because of the last show that we did went crazy. Just so you guys know, like it got hella views, man. It was doing really, really well. So a lot of people enjoyed that content. So I thought we'll take it a step further today and just kind of continue on that motion and talk about if the devil is real, right? And if you think that the devil is real, then what is the devil or who is the devil? That's tonight's discussion. And I want to know what y'all think because I got all types of different things going on in my brain when I think about this subject. Uh, and yeah, so we're just going to start there. So we'll start with you, Brenda. We'll let you go first. What do you think? Is the devil real?
Well, I know it's real because of the Bible. Is he real because of things that go on in the world? Yeah, I think there's something out there. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Casey, is the devil real?
Absolutely. And the devil is real if Hillary Clinton wouldn't have as much blood on her hands if the devil wasn't real.
Bro, we are not off all the other platforms yet.
I didn't say anything that would get us in trouble yet.
Well, I know where one of the devils resides, so I wasn't going to go there. So thanks, Casey.
All right. So, okay, what do you think the devil is, or who do you think the devil is? Because I know you said the Bible, Brenda, is how you know that the devil is real, right?
So I think I mentioned a couple times. I don't know if you guys caught it, but I was actually raised Jehovah's Witness. So I'm a little sheltered in some areas in the world. I didn't learn the Pledge of Allegiance until I went to Fire Academy at the age of 43, if that tells you how sheltered I was as a child. When I was little, when everybody else was saying the Pledge of Allegiance in the classroom, I had to stand with my hands to my side. I couldn't even raise my hand up to my heart or anything like that. So
Oh, wow.
all I know is that the devil was an angel and he was kind of God's main sidekick. And then he wanted to be like God, and God just cast him out. So then it became this war. So that's all I know about the devil. But I do believe he exists. And in the work that we do and the stories that I read and stuff like that, yeah, definitely he's out there. People do some really messed up things. And I can't think that there's not something at work there that would allow your brain to even think or do some of the things that people do in their lives.
Okay. All right. So you said a couple things that I wanted to touch on, right? So the story of the devil in the Bible, everybody knows that story. But do you know the story of the devil in the Quran and in the Hadith?
No.
Yo, it's interesting. It's really interesting. And I gotta say this, right? Even though I'm not I don't practice Islam, right? Well, I do practice Islam in the sense of peace because Islam means peace. So I do practice peace, but not the religion. I don't practice the religion of Islam. So I've read it though, and I know it, right? And the story of creation, the story of the devil, the story of Cain and Abel and all of them and Seth's children. Yo, it's interesting. So the story, first off, you guys ever heard that thing in the that story in the Bible where it says that Cain, after he took out his brother after he murdered Abel, God banished him basically and told him he's got to go to the land of Nod, but he put a mark on his forehead, right? But it also says that he went there and took a wife.
Right.
You remember reading that? So who was that was out there?
That's a good question.
Right? Think about that. So in the Bible, it doesn't tell you. In the Bible, it doesn't tell you who was out there, because at the time it was supposed to be Cain, Abel, Adam, Eve. And then after he took out Abel, he leaves into the land of Nod and he takes a wife. So in the Quran or in the Hadith, it talks about this. And it's interesting because it says that Adam and Eve, right? They had twins every time that they had babies. So, but they never documented the daughters. So you could never marry the child that shared the womb with you. So Cain couldn't marry his twin sister, and Abel couldn't marry his twin sister. They had to switch. Cain got mad that he couldn't marry his own sister because she was pretty and Abel's sister was ugly. So that's why he got jealous and killed Abel, according to the Hadith.
I did not know that story.
Interesting.
Yeah, but here's what's even more interesting. The story of the creation of the devil. Iblis is what they call him, Satan. And in his creation, and before man was created on the earth, it says that jinn ruled the earth. That jinn lived on the earth before mankind. And that Lucifer or Iblis worshipped God more than anybody. He worshipped God more than any other jinn, more than any of the angels, to the point where they see, and not even just him, it was all the other jinn. So he would pray constantly and worship God constantly, and the God noticed it because the angels came to him and said, "Yo, God, these jinn, can you bring them up here to heaven with us, because they worship and we want to learn how to worship you the same way that they do." So God brings them all the way up to heaven, and Iblis worshiped more than everybody. So he got elevated above all the angels, all the jinn, all the way up there with God. That's the story of Satan, and how he fell was when God created Adam in the Hadith. Adam was clay for 40 days and 40 nights. Adam was clay before God breathed breath into him. So Iblis got jealous because he's like, this dude's made of clay. I'm not gonna worship God. I made a fire. You made me a fire. Why would I worship something inferior? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it gets deep. That's when he got kicked out. He got kicked out because he wouldn't bow like everybody else did to Adam. So it's a different story. It's a big different story compared to the Bible. But then when you look at all these other religions, you could see how the stories go as well. So when you look at like the Sumerian text that, what's his name? Ben Carson likes to talk about.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You had Enki and Enlil. You know what I'm saying? So it just, all these different places got this story of the devil. So it begs the question. The devil's not an angel, even though in Christianity they say that the devil is an angel. But according to Islam, he is a jinn. He's not an angel. But yet they got the same function. That same function to get man to do wrong.
All right.
To tempt man to do wrong. You go all the way back into the mythology, right? The mythology, in like Greek mythology, you got what's his name? What's his name, man?
You're teaching me right now.
Prometheus.
Okay.
Prometheus stole the fire from the gods and gave it unto men.
So is there, like, we have the Satanists
Mm-hmm.
and the Satanic Temple. Is that same thing existing in their culture?
Which culture?
So
Satanism?
Yeah. So like we have Satanism and all of that here that we refer to very similarly from Christians and Catholics, that we say that. Do they preach the same thing, saying that's Satanism?
I don't know. So what you like? Is there an equivalent to like how Christianity, and then you got the opposing Satanism, and then you got Islam, and then Well, I think Islam would think that the opposing view would be Christianity. So that's their Satanism.
Good point.
From
And then
from my
the
understanding,
Jews defer to both. The Judaism says Christianity and Islam both are false.
from my perspective, I would think that Satanists probably look at God, Yahweh, about the same as what Christians look at Lucifer and all his legions to be. Just vice versa. Yin and yang.
Yeah,
They're
I
going to look
mean,
at us the same way as we look at them. Now, the reason why they probably worship the devil is because their gratifications come in the means of a flesh desires versus spiritual desires.
so let me ask you: do you believe that the devil is real?
100%. You can't have one without the other. Light can't exist in darkness, and darkness can't exist in light.
True enough. So duality. You believe in duality.
It's a give and take, and I believe that whatever religion you choose to prescribe to, there is one in every belief system. I think that there is a good entity and a bad entity, and we all try to prescribe towards that good entity. You got your atheists and you got your Satanists. They think otherwise, but that's probably about the gist of it.
So this is the thing that I was getting at with it all, though, right? So when you think about the devil and all these different religions, theologies, right? Talking about kicked out from heaven. He got kicked out from heaven to earth. So then that could tie into, say, aliens.
Probably going back to that point in time when when everything was very mysterious. They didn't have what we have. You know, you're going to see something flying across the sky. Of course, you're going to think it's aliens or something of that nature.
What do you mean? Get deeper. Elaborate for me.
Say if we took our today's technology and we went back to biblical times, 500 BC or whatever, we would be looked at as either aliens or gods. That's how they would look at us based off of the technology that we have.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you think the aliens exist?
Yeah, because the Bible, I mean, I can't speak on other religious texts. I know the Bible doesn't say there's no other species. He calls us
It
the
does,
human
though.
race for a reason.
No, but that's the thing. It does. It says that there are angels.
Well, yeah, angels.
So an
Do we
angel
consider?
technically is an alien because it's
Yeah,
an otherworldly being.
it is. Yeah.
So that's my
Now,
whole point.
I think there is. I think there's aliens because if you look at some of the Indian culture and especially in the Navajo culture, if you go back to where the skinwalkers are and stuff like that, they have all kinds of what do you call them? I want to say petroglyphs or whatever they're called in the mountains that are still there, and it shows alien-like form people. So they had to exist back then, and they do believe in them.
yeah, I mean, it's
How would they come up with those kind of that kind
Exactly.
of imagination?
every tribe has similar accounts of something that they've seen, worshipped, whatever. I mean, in the Grand Canyon, we've got places that you can't even get to. They're so secretive because of what's there.
Well, I live in the real Northern California, and if you ever heard the stories about Mount Shasta, and
I've
then
heard.
you have the Lemurian people that live up there, and they're fully into aliens, and they feel like that we have a big platform up there. And when you get that big lenticular cloud that covers the top of the mountain, they believe that aliens are landing there. And people have claimed to seen, and even in some of the American Indian stories, that spaceships go in and out of the mountain. So I
So
mean,
then that would mean that these beings have a physical body.
Or like us, like you were saying the other night on the show, is we are in a human experience, but we're a spirit or a soul living a human experience. They could possibly be doing the same.
Well, this is why I'm asking all this, right? Me personally, I don't believe the devil to be an actual physical person. I believe the devil to be a mind frame, a state of mind. And the physical part of the devil is in every single human being. That's how he's able to function through a human being.
Well, God's
If
not
that
in a
makes any
physical form.
sense.
God was never in a physical form, if I'm correct. I mean, he
Well,
sent Jesus down in the image of him, but when Moses went to the top of the mountain, wasn't he just a big ball of energy? For lack of better words, I mean, he wasn't in a physical form when Moses went up there that we know of, according to the Bible. But
Well,
so,
God's different because God exists outside of everything while simultaneously existing inside of everything. God is different than a created being because God isn't created. He is the creator.
so what are angels?
Light. According to Islam, they are light. According to the Bible, they're beings that come with messages from heaven.
They're his soldiers is the best way that I could describe it.
But they also have physical bodies.
So why
Because
wouldn't the devil?
when they came and sat down with Abraham, they sat down and ate with him.
So why wouldn't Satan have a physical body? If he was an
Well,
angel and he was cast out, he had to be in some kind of form like angels, correct? He didn't just
no.
get kicked out. Now he doesn't have a form.
Well, and then here goes
Well,
the third part of it, an interdimensional being. So we see how the water vapors, right? We can't necessarily see water vapors, but
No.
once they hit a certain temperature, they take a form of ice. And then it's cold outside, so that same vapor comes down in the form of snow. And once that accumulates, it's like a block. So if that can do that, then I'm sure some kind of creature that was created that, is able to shift matter, because that's what the angels do. Look at what happened with Balaam. It said an angel was standing in the road and he couldn't even see the angel, but his donkey did. And he starts beating his donkey because the donkey kept trying to go off the road, right? So Balaam looks at the donkey like, "You stupid donkey." And the donkey talked. It's like, "Man, listen, bro, I've done looked out for you all this time. I've been a good donkey and you over here beating me. And it's an angel right there standing in the street about to kill you with a big old sword." So that angel appeared to what it wanted to appear to. So then is this physical realm that we live in, right? Is it not we know it's not the real reality, right? But are these things, or this thing, the devil, is the devil able to take whatever form he wants to? Which is the reason I ask this is because in the Bible it says that he is the prince of the power of the air.
and the only time that he actually really revealed himself in the Bible was as a snake, correct? And in the Garden of Eden,
That's what I know it to be.
A serpent, not a
a
snake.
serpent. Well, yeah,
I'm just saying. It gets a little crazy when you think about it. Like, straight up, really think about this. The devil. The devil isn't God, so he's not omniscient. Right? He's not omnipresent. He's not none of those things. So how is it if the devil is just a being? How can all these people in the world say the devil made me do it?
the devil probably derives his power though by which we give him. If you give him the
Yeah.
power, he's going to have power.
But do you
Whereas
think that you're
God
really?
doesn't need that.
Let me ask you a question. I think it's ego that gets involved with mankind, that thinks that the devil got enough time to go and mess with a regular average Joe Blow out in the streets instead of messing with people who can make some real waves for him, like a king or a president.
How do we know that he's not already doing that though?
That's my point.
I
If
mean,
the
he could
devil is not
be.
omnipresent, he can't be everywhere at one time. He can't be messing with everybody.
Well, like you said, if he's,
But he's
I
got
think
his.
when he was cast out of heaven, right, he landed here on earth. You're here on earth now. We are living in what I like to think of as either a purgatory or your first level of hell, because this is where all the evil shit happens to us mortal people until we die and spirits go back to where they go. Eventually, I feel like He's around everywhere, but he goes after those who are weak-minded. Not to say anybody is,
But he
but
can't
those.
be. But that's my point. He can't be everywhere. That would mean he's God.
Isn't that why he has demons do his work for him? I mean,
So
you
there's
got
another good one. Demons, right?
Demons, yeah.
So check this out, right? The devil. I think because in the Bible, Jesus flat out says that the devil is the god of this world.
Yeah.
God, he is the god of this world. God is the god of everything, right? Which is why you seen when like it says the devil is the prince of the power of the air. This man be causing disasters and all kind of crazy stuff, right? But when they were on the sea and it was raging, they were all freaked out, right? And then Jesus got up and said, "Peace be still," and commanded the waves, letting you know that he's got authority above the God of this world, as Jesus said. Jesus said that the devil is the God of this world, and Jesus had dominion over the devil, over his rule, over whatever, right? So if the devil is the God of this world, I think this is where I was going with it. I think that the devil is in the minds of men because of the teachings that he teaches. I don't think the devil is everywhere at once. I think the devil can only be at one place at a time. He cannot go to 2-3 places at one time. He can go to one place at a time, which is why he chooses his people very carefully of who he, gets inside their head. And then now you see society, the way that society is, how far we have changed from, say, 3,000 years ago to now.
I mean,
2,000 years ago to now,
it
1,000
don't.
years ago to now, and all the atrocities that have happened throughout them time periods to the point now we are all the way bad. This generation, we got all the technology in the world and we can do so much good, right? But the people that are in power
Yeah.
only do things to benefit themselves and not humanity as a whole. They don't try to uplift humanity and make humanity better. They try to control humanity while simultaneously destroying the earth. And that's another important passage in the Bible. God says that when he comes back, that he is going to destroy those who destroyed the earth.
Mhm.
And this is what all these corporations, all these billionaire, all the people that own manufacturing, they literally destroy the earth for no reason. They got us building windmills and all types of crazy stuff around the earth that's literally destroying the earth just so we can have a cleaner energy source. An energy
Not
that's not
realizing
really,
that they can actually draw energy from the earth itself if they would just do it.
but we don't
But
even
I
really
mean,
need the energy. That's the crazy
no, we
part.
don't.
But
And but the
the
smallest
devil's mind
seeds.
frame made us think that we do.
It's the smallest mustard seed will grow into a big bush or tree. The whispers started long ago, and they just slowly evolve and mutate until you've got complete control. And that's how it started, a whisper.
So
Eventually,
I struggle with the thought process to say that he only can be in one place at one time.
Why is that?
When you look at how things happen in the world, like it seems like there's cycles, right? And so it seems like there is a phase that, for example, you ask people around you over the next few days how their last few weeks have gone. See how many people actually tell you positive things for the last few weeks. I don't think the devil can have that much of an impact if he only can be in one place at one time.
well, that's why he uses demons and his
Exactly.
angels.
Yeah.
He might not be
Remember,
able
a
to
third fell
directly
with
come
him.
at us, but he has power over other angels.
A third of the angels fell with him. 1/3. That's a whole lot considering how many angels there are. So there's legions upon legions of angels. So if a third of them fell and are doing his bidding, which is another great point when we talk about aliens and all this other stuff, where we talk about the book of Enoch and how these angels came down and started teaching men how to make weapons and use fire, and taught women how to create makeup and how to create potions and how to create They made witches. This is where the witches come from.
Sure.
Witches come, that lore comes from them being taught by demons who serve the devil himself. So it makes you really ponder and think, like, the world that we live in, right? The world that we live in. Think about this. Just 400 years ago, they would have burned women at the stake for having a can of Pepsi, especially if it was in a cauldron bubbling like that. Think about it.
Absolutely.
They
would
didn't have carbonated drinks. A carbonated drink would have, you're mixing ingredients into a pot, making it. That's witchcraft.
And they're
now-
out. Yeah.
If they
Now
just thought you were doing something weird, they would they would hang
Right.
you and burn you they didn't even have a reason. If you were just doing something a little off par than the next neighbor, yeah, you were done for.
I'm telling you, but then think about this too, right? Think about this. They use the word, like, who created language, by the way? Because pharmakia means sorcery. It's literally sorcery. They're telling you they use it is sorcery. And we use sorcery, which is magic, to create pills and drugs for us to eat, even though in the Bible it says that the healing will come from the herbs of the nation.
Are you
For the
asking
nation.
who created language, like the languages, or
No,
didn't God-
I'm not meaning like that. Like, who created the term? Not created, but who decided these are the terms that we're going to use for medicine? You know what I'm saying? For pharmaceuticals, why couldn't it have been called medical ceuticals? You know what I'm saying? Or healing fucking supplies, anything. They use the word that literally means something that they were against, and they meaning like people who follow God. They were against sorcery. So why use the word sorcery for what, and people got to go to these doctors. People got to go to these places to get their medicines.
Well, Rockefeller was
Mendez got it
involved.
right there. He says alcohol, spirits, same thing.
Spirits. Right.
Rockefeller had a big play in today's medical arena back when he first started out with oil, and then he went into the pharmaceuticals or medical world and changed how they did shit.
All right, so there you go. You just brought up another point. So that name, the Rockefellers, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all the other different names that we dare not mention because we're still not logged off of these other platforms, which we are about to be. Who do you think that they follow? That's the question. Like, we see when we talk about the devil, who is the devil and what is the devil? Couldn't the devil be multiple things because people adopt his teaching? And I want people to understand what I'm saying. The devil persuaded Eve to grab that apple. That trick has not changed today. It's the same thing. The devil ain't actually doing anything. He's just giving the idea. And he's enticing you with what you don't have. And that's been the play each time. Each time. That's been the play. To entice you, to make you think that you're lacking. So that way he can get you to do his bidding so you can get what he can give you. Like he did with Jesus. What did he do with Jesus when he took him to the high place and showed him all the kingdoms of the world?
Yeah.
Because he was the God of this world, right? He said, I'll give you all of this, everything, the riches, the power, the wealth, everything. All you got to do is bow down and worship me. You see what I'm saying? It's the same game being played. So Satan, I believe, is in the world because, like I said, it was him that approached Jesus because Jesus was that important. Jesus was that important. He came into the world and he's teaching these people how to be godly. So I'm going to lose my power over these dudes if he keeps on going. So he went directly to him. He went directly to Jesus. He wasn't chained up nowhere. It was a physical body. He showed up in front of Jesus and he's like, yo, man, if you're hungry, why don't you turn these stones into bread? You know what I'm saying? Isn't it written that if you throw yourself from a high place, that he will give his angels charge commanding thee? So the devil is a real being, right? As far as how he appeared to Jesus, but everything else, nah. He's not a real being in the minds of, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. He's a real being in the minds of men. In the minds of men, because of the sin nature of the flesh. But yes, I believe he could show up in person to one person at a time. The only way that he could show up to the multitude is via Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or X or, But yeah, all the other guys around the world say, "Oh, the devil made me do it." The devil didn't make you do nothing, man. That was your own desire inside your own flesh, and you gave in to the temptations inside of yourself. Because the devil, if he's walking around here right now, he got way more important things to do. Like, convince people to sell people into slavery and stuff like that, and kidnap children and all the evil stuff. Put poison in food, because that's what they do. That's what's going on right now. With that, we're going to keep this thing going. If you guys would like to continue watching this, if you're watching from Facebook or if you're watching from YouTube, I am cutting the feeds. All right, I'm cutting the feeds right now. You're more than welcome to join us on pilled.net, PILLED.net, and then look up my name. We're going to dig a little deeper into this subject, and it might mutate. I'm sure it will. With that, I bid you adieu.